Hi everyone, it's Dave at Vinyl Nirvana, and today we're working on a Thorens TD-125 Mark II, and we're actually going to show the removal of the front fascia plate and replacing it with the two-switch model. So this is the three-switch model where the cueing controls the cueing of the stock Thorens arm, and we're going to convert that to a two-switch arm, which just makes it a cleaner look. This wouldn't be a vestige; it would just be completely removed from the picture in order to give your turntable a cleaner and more modern look. So the tools you'll need will be a 3mm Allen wrench. You might need some needle nose pliers, might not, and you just need a straight screwdriver. In prep here, I've removed the outer platter and also the inner drive platter. On this model, they just lift right out with no problem. I tucked a piece of paper towel in here to keep oil from dripping all over the place, and I secured the tone arm with a twist tie to make sure that doesn't come out. And the stylus guard on this particular cartridge is part of the cartridge is in the down position. And that's about it for getting the top prepared. I've already removed the 4 screws, that hold the bottom in, which are the 4 area of the feet. And I'm alone on the camera today, so forgive me if I have to adjust it sometimes or if it's not exactly the greatest picture. So screw, 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 remove those, and the bottom comes off and exposes the underside of your turntable. Oh yeah, the most important thing that you need in terms of getting the job done are 3 paint cans. I had my woodworker make these 3 stands for me. So you need 3 cans of some kind of the same height. So I'm going to move this back down this way. So you're going to arrange these cans, stands, whatever you have, in an L like that. So 2 here, 1 here, and the object is to turn this turntable over and have the motor end up in this open space there, so it's not going to be having a great deal of pressure on it. So we're going to accomplish that next. And the turntable's unplugged, by the way. Perform this with the turntable unplugged just for safety reasons. So I've done this a whole mess of times, but you're going to have to really be careful that when you set this down, that the motor, you can actually see through the hole right here and here so that you're going into an open space. So set it into an open space, and you should be able to move the plinth about like this if you've arrived at the right location. So the first thing we're going to accomplish is releasing the cueing. The word is escaping me here, the springy cord here that holds the cueing in space. I'm going to attempt to remove the tone arm and the board all in one piece, just so it might be sellable that way and you can get a few bucks to help pay for the rest of your stuff. So again, the cueing mechanism comes through here, and it's notched in place here and pinched in the factory so that it's locked in place. And so you need to unpinch that, pry it open, whatever you want to call it. And I just use a screwdriver to do that. Sometimes a thicker screwdriver than what I have works a little bit better, but I think I'm just going to use the needle nose to do the final tiny bit of it here. So it's just basically a C-clip here. I know you can't see exactly what I'm doing. And they close the C-clip in order to put this cable in. And I want to get a little bit closer. Hopefully you can see this, folks. So I'm grabbing this on the other side of the C-clip, and I'm just kind of jimmying it out. And then you can see there's a little L here where it's held in place. You take that out, and that part is free. The arm board will now be able to be released. There are some models of this turntable that have a cable clamp on the wooden part of the plinth here and here. This particular one did not, but you'll want to release those two also, because we're going to be lifting the turntable right out of the plinth in order to accomplish this work, at least one part of the work anyway. So the next thing is using the straight screwdriver. We're going to tackle loosening all these arm wires. And though they look really fragile, they're actually a little bit robust. They're more robust than you'd think they would be. So there's a screw down inside here. Hopefully you can see my picture here. And that's the ground to the chassis, and I'm going to be just releasing that screw next. And save that screw, because you're going to want to probably, with your new arm, use that to attach the ground. So I'm setting that off to the side. The ground is now loose. And then you've got a cable tie here in the middle. I'm releasing that. Don't know if you can see that exactly. Releasing this one. Saving this screw in case I might want to reroute something. And then this wire junction has just got two screws that hold it in place, and that'll be free. And just so there's a little less tension on it, I'm moving the whole wire up into this zone here so that when I lift it out, it's not going to put any strain on that. So the cable is completely free. There's a couple nuts, sometimes loose, and washers underneath there. Gather those up, put them to the side. You're probably not going to reuse them again, but keep them anyway. And then the next thing is these 4 screws that hold the actual plinth onto, that actually hold the plinth onto the metal part of the chassis. So there's one here. Definitely need to keep track of these screws, folks. These are going to be reused again quickly. If you've got a 2-hole, if you've got a TD-125 Mark II that's already got the tone arm removed, the process is obviously much easier because you're not worried about removing the arm in one reusable piece. And there have been times where the arm has just been junk on one of these tables, and I've just cut that. This cable here I've just cut because it's an arm I'm not going to reuse in any way. Okay, so we've got the 4 screws out that hold this in, and now the magic is going to happen here. I'm going to move the AC cable up in here also. The wooden plinth is going to come up from the other part. Now the reason we need to do this is to be able to access the screws that hold the buttons in for the front panel. And though I don't do this when I'm typically at the bench, I'm going to do this now for the sake of visibility. So I'm going to just lift this up and turn things around the other way so you can see what's happening. So I'm reversing the L like so. And I'm going to make sure the motor goes down in that open slot. And so now you've got the front fascia plate we're replacing right here. That's going to be coming off. But the first thing we need to do to accomplish that is to get the 3 levers off, and all 3 do need to come off. So the first one is now widely exposed because of removing the plinth, and that's really the only reason well, actually there's another reason to get the queuing switch removed also. So we got one switch off, and you just need to move the switch to the position where you can, it's lined up with the space above it, and they remove right away. The older model, TD-125, Mark I if you will, has a little bit beefier screws here, but it's still a straight screwdriver to remove those. Okay, so that's off. And the arm is off. And I'm going to stop the video right now. I think it's a good length of time to stop, and we're going to move on to the next phase of removing this queuing apparatus in the next video.